AI-driven decisions. A brave new world. What if the most critical decisions in your business were no longer made by humans? Instead, what if algorithms, driven by artificial intelligence, were pulling the strategic strings? It's not a hypothetical future anymore. AI is already reshaping the way businesses and markets operate, offering unprecedented opportunities, but also posing challenges that demand careful navigation. Today, AI isn't just a buzzword, it's a powerful tool transforming decision-making across industries. From predicting market trends and automating operations to delivering hyper-personalized customer experiences, AI is augmenting human intelligence in profound ways. McKinsey's 2023 State of AI report indicates that companies leveraging AI-driven decision-making see an average increase in profitability of 9%, a statistic hard to ignore. But while AI is undeniably a game-changer, handing over the reins entirely to algorithms is far from straightforward. The decision to make AI a central player in your strategy requires clear-eyed evaluation of its potential risks and ethical implications. AI promises to revolutionize decision-making, but it comes with hurdles that demand immediate attention. Here's what business leaders and tech enthusiasts need to keep an eye on. One of the most pressing concerns is the ethical implications of AI-powered decisions. Can algorithms truly understand the nuanced ethical consequences of their outputs? A misstep here could lead to decisions that harm brand reputation or alienate customers. For example, automated hiring processes using AI have faced criticism for amplifying existing biases in the data they're trained on. Ethical deployment of AI requires the establishment of a robust framework to guide its usage. Boards and leadership teams need to collaborate with ethicists, legal experts, and AI professionals to enforce continual oversight. AI can help streamline processes, but over-reliance poses the danger of eroding human insight. A key example of this was seen in the 2020 stock market volatility, where algorithms triggered automatic sell-offs, exacerbating the chaos, while human intuition could have acted as a counterpoint. AI should augment, not replace, human judgment. Combining algorithmic precision with emotional intelligence ensures balanced decisions that aren't purely mechanical. Not all decision-makers fully understand how AI arrives at its conclusions. The lack of transparency within certain AI algorithms, often referred to as the black box problem, raises questions around accountability and trust. Businesses must prioritize transparency in AI algorithms, ensuring every decision is explainable in plain terms. Open AI tools that allow for audit trails will be a competitive advantage. AI technologies are evolving at a pace that's hard to match, creating challenges for businesses to stay current and compliant with new regulations. The key lies in fostering a culture of continuous learning. Upskilling teams and collaborating across departments will help businesses remain agile. Additionally, it's vital to monitor emerging technologies and update practices to reflect evolving legal mandates. AI relies on massive datasets to make accurate predictions, but mining and processing this data puts privacy and security at risk. Recent high-profile breaches have shown how devastating mishandled data can be to a company's reputation. Implement strong data governance policies that adhere to global regulations like GDPR and CCPA. Invest in secure AI solutions that prioritize user privacy and security. While challenges loom large, the opportunities AI brings far outweigh the risks if used correctly. Here are some key predictions and insights for the road ahead. Within the next decade, AI will become a non-negotiable part of strategic decision-making. Whether forecasting supply chain disruptions or personalizing customer outreach, predictive analytics will empower businesses to act proactively rather than reactively. AI's capability to process immense data sets in real time means that businesses can anticipate individual customer needs like never before. Imagine dynamic pricing models that adapt to consumer behaviors or marketing messages tailored to personal preferences. Organizations at the forefront of ethical AI practices will lead the pack. Consumers and stakeholders alike are already choosing brands that align with their values, and transparency in AI will only grow in importance. To successfully integrate AI, companies will need to demystify it across all organizational layers. AI literacy, paired with technical training, will enable employees to collaborate more effectively with AI systems. While new legal frameworks may add complexity, they will also foster trust and set the stage for sustained growth. Leaders who proactively align with regulations will emerge as industry benchmarks. AI's potential in business is undeniable, but so are the risks and responsibilities that come with it. Every business leader today must ask the tough questions. Are our algorithms fair? Is our data protected? Are we using AI to complement human ingenuity? The path to an AI-driven future demands bold decision-making, cross-disciplinary collaboration, and, at times, the courage to take a step back and reevaluate. Those who rise to these challenges will not only gain a competitive edge, but also help shape an ethical, innovative, and resilient AI-powered world.
Okay, so you're probably here because you're trying to wrap your head around this whole AI thing, right? Like, how is it going to actually change the economy? Big picture stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge question. And I think this report, AI-driven decisions, a brave new world, it gives us a really good starting point to think about some of those big shifts that could be coming.
Exactly. It really dives into how businesses are using AI right now to make decisions. And it also looks ahead, kind of tries to project where things are going.
Right. And I think, like, one of the most interesting things the report highlights is this idea that, well, they actually said they saw their profits go up by 9% on average.
9%. That's pretty significant.
It really is. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, what happens when every company starts doing this, right?
Right. It's not just a few early adopters anymore. So, I mean, what could that mean for, the entire economy? Like, how could that actually play out?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the first places to look would be, productivity and efficiency, right?
Because that's what the report kind of points to first, right? Like,
Yeah,
AI can do so much in terms of just automating tasks.
exactly. It's already streamlining workflows, handling routine tasks, optimizing complex logistics.
And I mean, that makes sense. If companies can use AI to be more efficient and like you said, to automate things, then wouldn't that lead to more output overall, right?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, think about it. Supply networks operating more smoothly, manufacturing processes that can adjust on the fly based on, like, real-time data. It could be pretty transformative.
Yeah. It's like if everything is running at peak efficiency all the time because of AI, I mean, could we actually see economic growth that's way faster than what we're used to?
It's certainly a possibility. I mean, it's kind of a mind-blowing thing to think about, like goods and services being produced more cheaply, delivered more effectively, potentially leading to a higher standard of living for, a lot of people.
Yeah.
But, there's a flip side of this too.
Of course. I mean, if AI is doing more and more of the work, what does that mean for jobs?
Right.
Like, how does the workforce adapt to that?
And that's a big question. And it's something the report addresses.
Yeah.
It talks about how AI is currently augmenting human intelligence rather than replacing it.
Right. Right now, it's doing a lot of like the predictive analytics stuff, right? Like forecasting those swings in demand or figuring out, how to tailor marketing to specific people.
Exactly. But you have to wonder, what if AI gets so good at those things that it actually starts to replace some of the jobs that are, heavily reliant on those skills?
Like maybe some types of data analysis or even some of the financial forecasting roles. I mean, could those jobs just disappear?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not out of the question.
Yeah.
But then here's where things get even more interesting. The report talks about this idea of ethical AI being a differentiator.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. So like companies could start building their brands around the idea that they're using AI responsibly.
Exactly. And that could actually create new jobs, right? Like, we might need people whose entire job is to make sure that AI systems are being used ethically and without bias.
Like AI ethics specialists. Wow.
Yeah. It's a whole new field. And then, even for the jobs that aren't replaced, the focus might shift even more towards those uniquely human skills.
The things that AI can't do as well, right? Like creativity, complex problem saving, and those really strong interpersonal skills.
Right. And that's probably going to require some pretty serious investment in education and retraining programs, because you can't just expect people to, magically acquire those skills overnight.
Yeah. There's going to need to be a huge effort to help people adapt to this new landscape, right? Because if we don't, I mean, that could lead to a lot of people being left behind.
Absolutely. It's crucial.
Okay. So we've talked about productivity, we talked about jobs, but how about like, what does all this mean for us as like everyday consumers?
Well, I think the big thing here is personalization, right?
Yeah. The report talked a lot about how AI is going to make customer experiences even more personalized.
Think about it like dynamic pricing, where the price of something changes based on who you are and what you've been looking at online.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely seen that. And then there's all that, like, targeted advertising that feels like it's reading your mind.
Exactly. And from a purely economic standpoint, that kind of hyper-personalization could make markets a lot more efficient.
Because supply and demand are more closely matched, right? Like, businesses can give people exactly what they want when they want it.
Precisely. And in theory, that should lead to less waste and happier customers.
So does that mean we could actually see an increase in overall spending because of this? Like, if businesses are just so good at anticipating what we want, we might end up buying more stuff, even things we didn't realize we wanted.
It's a possibility. And the report touches on that. But it also raises the issue of, what happens to smaller businesses.
Yeah. Could they get squeezed out? Like, if they can't afford to use those super advanced AI tools to personalize everything.
It's a valid concern. I mean, if only the big companies can afford to deliver that level of hyper-personalized experience, it could end up reducing competition.
Which wouldn't be good for consumers in the long run.
Right, because then you have less choice.
Okay, so the report had this really interesting idea about like an ethical AI dividend. So basically, the idea is that companies that use AI responsibly.
Right, the ones that actually put in the work to make sure their AI systems are fair and unbiased.
Yeah, exactly. Those companies could actually build stronger brand loyalty.
Because people will trust them more. And they'll want to support businesses that align with their values.
So, I mean, taking that a step further, is it possible that companies could actually charge more for their products or services if they have a reputation for using AI ethically? Like, could that be a real selling point?
It's certainly possible. I mean, we're already seeing consumers become more aware of, like, the potential downsides of AI, right?
Yeah.
So being able to say, hey, we're using AI the right way could be a big advantage.
Yeah, like an ethical stamp of approval that actually translates into higher profit.
It's a really fascinating idea.
Okay, but then we have this other issue of transparency, right? Like, how much do we actually understand about how these AI systems are making decisions?
That's the black box problem, right? And it's a big one.
Yeah.
Because if we don't understand how AI is making decisions, then it's hard to know if those decisions are fair or unbiased.
And the report talks about the need for, like, explainable AI, right? Systems that can leave an audit trail so we can see how they arrived at their conclusions.
Exactly. And it's not just about fairness. It's also about, like, systemic risk. Like, remember what happened in the stock market back in 2020?
Yeah, algorithms gone wild. It was a bit of a mess.
And that was just a glimpse of what could happen if we become too reliant on AI systems that we don't fully understand.
So could it get even worse if, like, AI becomes more complex and even less transparent? Could we see, like, huge disruptions in the economy because of that?
It's certainly a risk. I mean, imagine AI making all these important decisions in, like, the financial system, and we don't even know how those decisions are being made. That could be a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, that's a bit scary. So I guess the opposite would be true too, right? Like, if we had more transparency, if we could see how the AI was working, wouldn't that create more trust and make the economy more stable?
Potentially, yeah. Transparency is key. If we can understand how AI is making decisions, we can identify potential problems before they cause, major damage.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of big picture stuff, but I mean, for businesses and for individuals, like, how do we actually keep up with all of this? Because AI is evolving so quickly.
It's a challenge. And the report really emphasizes the need for AI literacy. Like, we need to make sure that people understand how AI works and how to use it effectively.
And that means investing in education and training, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Businesses need to be willing to invest in their employees. And individuals need to be proactive about learning new skills.
Because if we don't, there's a risk that, like, a whole bunch of people are going to get left behind, right? Like, they'll be stuck in jobs that are becoming obsolete and they won't have the skills to transition to something new.
Right. And that could lead to a more divided economy with, a widening gap between those who can adapt to the AI-driven world and those who can't.
And then, of course, there's the whole question of regulation, right? Like, what role does government play in all of this?
Yeah. And the report has some interesting things to say about that. It basically argues that, like, well-crafted regulations can actually be a good thing.
Because they can create trust and help the AI sector grow in a sustainable way.
Exactly. But of course, there's always the risk that regulation could go too far, right?
Yeah. Like, if the rules are too strict, it could stifle innovation.
Right. So finding that balance is going to be crucial.
And I wonder, I mean, will we see different countries taking different approaches to AI regulation?
Probably. And that could actually have a big impact on, like, which economies thrive in the coming decades.
Like, will businesses just move to countries with more favorable AI regulations? And then what about data privacy? That's another huge issue, right?
Absolutely. And the report talks about, regulations like GDPR and CCPA, which are designed to protect people's data.
And I mean, we've seen how damaging data breaches can be for companies.
For sure. So in a world where AI is using more and more data, having strong privacy and security frameworks is going to be essential.
So could that actually become a competitive advantage for some countries? Like, if they have a reputation for protecting data really well, could that attract more investment?
Absolutely. I think it will. I mean, who wouldn't want to do business in a place where they know their data is safe?
It's like, the digital equivalent of a safe haven.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So we've covered a lot of ground here, but I think the takeaway is that, like, AI is going to have a massive impact on the economy. There's really no doubt about that.
It's a game changer. It's going to change how we work, how we consume, how businesses operate, everything.
And I think for our listeners, the big question to think about is, like, what role do we want to play in all of this? I mean, AI is coming whether we like it or not. So how can we make sure that it leads to a better future, not just economically, but for society as a whole?
It's a great question.
Yeah,
And it's one that we're all going to have to grapple with in the coming years.
definitely. Okay, well, that's about all the time we have for today, but I think this is a conversation that we're going to be having for a long time to come.
Absolutely. It's just the beginning.